Hello and welcome to Exercise 1 Effects of Controls. This is called Exercise 1, but this should be the second lesson that you're technically doing because you should have just come from your aircraft familiarization and setup lesson. That was a self-study lesson, and by now you should know how to start your plane, know the operation of various systems, and everything else that was covered in that lesson. If you haven't done that lesson, then I suggest you go back and do that now. The aim of this lesson, however, is to understand how the effects of controls function in still air conditions. And we'll discuss exactly what that means in a moment. One thing we also need to discuss, is written in red here, is TEM. So that stands for Threat and Error Management. What does that mean exactly? Well, this is a way of thinking critically about anything that might affect the flight and thinking if there's anything we can do to accommodate that. A threat is something that we can't control. That could be the weather, that could be other traffic. And an error is something that we as the pilot either do or don't do that might negatively affect the flight. So that could be we don't check and change the fuel tanks at the correct time, leading to fuel starvation. Maybe we lower the flaps above the correct speed for the aircraft, leading to potential damage of those flaps. So you'll see this in all of your exercises. Have a think about what you're doing in that lesson and think about if there's anything you need to be particularly aware of while you're flying. In this case, we're going to be consciously thinking about other aircraft because we're focusing on what we're doing and our controls and how our plane is reacting. It's very easy to not look outside the cabin and be caught out by perhaps some traffic that you weren't aware of. The exercise today, we're looking at the controls of the plane. So there are three main controls that we're going to look at. So this is the elevator, the ailerons, and the rudder. And I'll show this on the plane when we get to the exercise. The elevator, each of these controls has a primary effect. The elevator's primary effect is pitch. So what that means is when you move the elevator, so this is done by either moving your yoke towards you, pulling it towards you, or pushing it away from you, that will control the pitch of the airplane. It will move the nose of the airplane up and down in its simplest sense. We'll then look at the ailerons. So these are on the wings of the plane, and you control these by rotating your yoke to the left and rotating your yoke to the right. And the primary effect of these ailerons are to control the roll of the plane. So when you rotate the yoke, your plane will also rotate. One wing will go down and the other wing will go up. The third main control is the rudder. These are typically controlled by pedals, or if you don't have pedals, you may have another key binding. But these will control the yaw of the plane. This is typically on the tail of the plane, and this will move left and right, and will move the nose of the plane left and right. Each of these controls, as well as their primary effects, they have secondary effects and further effects. For the elevator, once you move the elevator, let's say you pull the yoke back towards you and the aircraft pitches up, the secondary effect of that, because you've pitched up, you will start to lose airspeed. So the secondary effect for the elevator is an effect on indicated airspeed. For the ailerons and the rudder, these two are linked. So the secondary effect for the ailerons, once you rotate the plane and roll the plane, you will see some yaw occurring. And with the rudder, if you start to yaw the plane, you will also see some roll occurring. So this is a cycle of roll causing yaw and yaw causing roll, and this is something that can lead into a spiral dive, which will be discussed in later lessons. For the elevator, the further effect is height. So in our earlier example, we pulled the yoke towards us, we pitched up, we lost speed, but because we are pitched up, we are also going to be gaining a little bit of height, and that is the further effect there. We'll also be talking about the effect of airspeed in this lesson. So from two perspectives. One is at a constant power. So we've set our throttle to a particular power setting. If we were flying at a high indicated airspeed, so possibly a descent at a constant power, we would find that the controls of the plane are firm and more effective. This is because there's more airflow going over those controls. If we were flying at a low airspeed, again this could be a climb with a constant power, we would find that the controls are less firm and less effective. If we have a constant low airspeed, so we're not talking about power this time, we're just talking about airspeed. So we could be flying slowly at 60 knots. If we have low power as well, then we will find that only the elevator and the rudder are less effective. And you'll see this in the practical in a moment. If we have high power, however, because we have the slipstream from the propeller, we will find that the elevator and the rudder feel firm, but the ailerons, because they are outside the slipstream, as the air spirals around the body of the plane, it doesn't hit the ailerons, so those aren't affected. So even though the elevator and the rudder will feel firm, the ailerons will not feel as firm as those two controls. In this lesson, we'll also be looking at trim. So trim, the primary function of trim is to remove control loading for yourself. So effectively to save you from getting tired by perhaps having to constantly pull the yoke back or push the yoke forward to maintain a particular attitude of the plane. We will use the trim wheel to compensate for this. So if you find that you are having to push forward on the yoke, then you want to move the wheel forward. And this could be either a physical wheel you have with your setup, or maybe you have another key binding. But the principle is the same. We want to make sure the wheel in the virtual cockpit is moving forward. If we are having to pull back on the yoke, then we want to move that wheel back. And you will notice, as you'll see in a moment, that as you do that, you will have to either pull back or push forward less and less and less until you have to almost not touch the yoke at all, and you'll be flying at your intended attitude. When it comes to trim, we often, or you may often hear trimming for a certain speed. What this means is that if you are flying straight and level, you're not turning, you're not climbing, you're not descending, and you're flying at 100 knots, let's say, and you are in trim, you could say that you are trimmed for 100 knots. If you then change your attitude, because you are still, and you don't change anything else, so let's say you pitch down, because you are still trimmed for 100 knots, the plane will want to do what it can to get back to 100 knots. So although you push down, eventually you will see the plane pitch up again because it's trying to slow down from when you pitched down. This will make sense in the exercise. It's a bit hard to describe, but you'll see it when it gets demonstrated in a moment. We will also go through the effect of changing power. So you'll see when you add power to the plane, the aircraft will go up and to the left, and when you reduce power, the aircraft will go down and to the right. This is something to be aware of so that you fly more accurately. You don't want to add power in a maneuver and the aircraft moves in a way that you're not expecting. So it's something that we need to be prepared for when we make power changes. I kind of covered this earlier. This is the effect of changing airspeed. So if the indicated airspeed is greater than the trimmed airspeed. So if the indicated airspeed is 110 knots and we are trimmed for 100 knots, the aircraft will start to nose up to lower the speed to get back to what it was trimmed at. If the indicated airspeed is less than the trimmed airspeed, so instead we are flying at 80 knots but we are trimmed for 100 knots, then the aircraft will start to go nose down to increase the speed to get back to 100 knots. We also have the effective flap. It says white arc here. We'll see this in the demonstration, but this means the VFE range. So this is the airspeed which you should not deploy the flaps after, and this is shown as a white arc on your airspeed indicator. When we lower the flaps, we will see that the aircraft nose will go up and the indicated airspeed will decrease. And when we raise the flaps, we will see that the aircraft nose goes down and the indicated airspeed will increase. Finally, we will look at the carb heat, and you will see when you apply carb heat, there will be a reduction in RPM, and that's just due to the hot air moving through the carburetor that causes a reduction in RPM. The final thing to talk about here is the datum attitude. Because we are at this stage in our training, we are visual pilots. We fly in accordance with visual flight rules. We want to use the horizon and, in fact, everything outside as our datum. We don't want to primarily use the instruments and use the instruments to tell us if we're flying straight or if we're flying level, if we're turning. We want to use the horizon mainly for this. So as you fly, you will build up an idea of this datum attitude, also called the normal picture. Some people say it's 2 or 3 fingers above the combing. That might depend on your setup, on your monitor size, your resolution, how far away you are. So there isn't a particular rule other than I would say when you're flying straight and level, try and recognize where the horizon is. So for example, in the Cessna, it usually crosses the compass, and when it's doing that, you'll be flying straight and level. Some final points then are to move the controls smoothly. We want to avoid jerky movements on the controls and do everything nice and smooth. Be aware of the neutral point. So if you turn your yoke, even though you may move your yoke back to its normal position, not rotated, that doesn't necessarily mean that the aircraft will have done the same. So you need to move the yoke back in the other direction to move the plane, and that ties into number 3 as well. All aircraft movements are relative to the pilot. So for example, if you're flying straight and level and we pull back on the yoke, we move the yoke towards us, we will pitch up as we discussed before. However, if we were in a turn and we were rotated, if we pulled the yoke back, then the aircraft wouldn't go the same way. It wouldn't go straight vertically up, it would go relative to the pilot. So it would go, if we were turning to the left, it would go kind of diagonally to the left, if that makes sense. And finally, the rate of rotation is proportional to the size of the deflection, not the speed of deflection. So if we make a small rotation on our yoke to the left but quickly, that would be exactly the same as if we did that slowly. But if we rotate our yoke as far as possible, then we will get a much larger effect on the plane. In this lesson, what we will do is we will start the plane, we will do all of our power checks, we will be taking off to the training area just south of Shoreham, where I will demonstrate everything I've spoken about here, the effects of each of the controls, their primary and secondary effects, also airspeed with high and low power and high and low airspeed. We'll talk about trim, and we'll talk about everything on the right side of the screen here as well. VATSIM radar. If you haven't used this tool, I highly recommend it. This will show you both who is online, what traffic we have around, and what areas air traffic will control. Because we're going to be flying from Shoreham, that is just down here on the south coast, you can either zoom right in or you can search at the top here for Shoreham. We can see that right now, and there it is, right now it is within this green zone here, and this is controlled by, if I click on air traffic control on the top right here, London S Centre. So that is who we would contact to sort out our taxiing and our departure from Shoreham, because there's no specific Shoreham tower or ground or anything else online. If there was, we would speak to them, but we go to the next highest coverage, which is this London Centre. Okay, that's enough talking from me. Let's get into the simulator and start the exercise. Okay, here we are on the ground at Shoreham, ready to begin our exercise. If we look at our checklist for the PA-28 Warrior 2, we can see that in the before start section we should have completed our pre-flight, which is done. I filed a flight plan on VATSIM, so that's all set up and ready to go. Our parking brake is on, our battery master is off, our alternator is off, our avionics master, which is just around here, is off, our throttle is set to idle, our mixture is cut off, our trim down here is set for takeoff. Fuel contents is sufficient. We have full tanks. You can't see it here yet, but I've configured the tanks to be full. The selector can be put on the emptiest tank. They're exactly the same, so it doesn't matter here. Flaps are up. Light switches are off. Pitot heat is off. The door is closed. Turn on the battery. We can check our fuel quantity. Indeed, that is full. The annunciator panel up here, the lights are on and working. Our beacon light, as this one, is on, and our circuit breakers are all working. Now, if you remember in the Shoreham guide, we have to get permission to start our engine. So what we can do now is also turn on our avionics and call up for start, and also listen to the ATIS if there is one. This will just take a minute to power on. I've got two glass panels here. If you're not familiar with these, I'll show you how they work. Of course, if you didn't have the glass option, you would just set the frequency as appropriate. So first thing you have to do is press enter twice to get to the main screen. The frequency that we need, let me verify this. London is still online, so it'll be 132.605. They've just come online now. There is no ATIS, so we'll ask for airfield information. So you want this bottom left knob for the frequencies up here. We want 132.605. So it's the big knob for the big numbers, the little knob for the little numbers. And we'll always be changing the standby frequency. So to put this into the main frequency, we then have to click this COM frequency swap button. And we should begin to hear people.
6274.
London Control Golf Papa Tango Delta Alpha is a PA-28 Shoreham. Request start airfield information and taxi for VFR flight to the south.
Golf Papa Tango Delta Alpha, London Control, Roger. Start approved. The Shoreham QNH is 1018.
Okay, so we got our QNH. We can set that here.
Maybe we have lost.
And we're approved for start, so we can now
Roger, if you are not able to terminate your
Start
emergency, please
checklist.
disconnect.
So our throttle should be 1/4 of an inch open. Our mixture can be set to full rich. Our fuel pump can go on. Our fuel selector should be on the least fuel tank. Left one is fine. We've got the ATIS and startup already.
Postman 33 Golf, landing control, roger. You are cleared to Leipzig, match 2 Charlie
We
departure,
just need to
runway
wait for our
27.
taxi clearance.
Score 5676.
Our prop area is
QNH
clear,
1018.
so we can now turn on the starter. Maximum of 10 seconds.
Golf Charlie Lima, leave control airspace, basic service, you cleared to
Engine
re-enter
is
as filed.
started. We then want to set our throttle to 1200 RPM, which it is on exactly already. And check that our oil pressure is rising. After start, our fuel pump can go off. Our ammeter here is working. Our suction is working within limits. Our magnetos, so we can check for dead cut. So we go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1. We're just checking to see if the engine stops. Our radios are on and set. We can set our transponder to standby in preparation, and our instruments. Airspeed is reading 0. We've set our QNH. Our vertical speed is steady at 0. Our DI is reading 252 perhaps. That's in line with the compass. Our turn coordinator is stable, and our balance ball is stable. I'm not going to be using this. So now we need to call up and ask about our taxi clearance. Golf Delta Alpha ready for taxi.
Golf Delta Alpha, taxi holding point Kilo 1, runway 20.
Taxi holding point Kilo 1, runway 20, Golf Delta Alpha. Okay, we have
Golf Delta
our
Alpha, score 3756.
Squawk 3756, Golf Delta Alpha. So we've been given our taxi clearance and also a squawk code, so we can set this now. 37.
Landing, good evening, American 17 Tango Alpha, climbing 3,000, passing 2,500 in verb 10
alt. And
American
we've been
17
cleared
Tango
to
Alpha,
go to
Roger,
Kilo
climb
1
now,
for
4,000.
runway 20. So
I'm
we
now
can
4,000,
do
American 17 Tango Alpha.
So we reduce
Super
our
90 on
throttle,
Lima.
take off our parking brake,
Air Portugal
gently
162.
increase our throttle until we start taxiing.
Ready
So
to
when we're
descend, flight level
taxiing, we can
160.
we don't want to go too fast. We can also do our taxi checks.
And confirm QNAV 1 Golf.
So what that is when we turn to the left. I'll do it now. I'll show you.
Air Portugal 162,
We're
QNAV 1
turning to the
Golf
left.
arrival.
We're making sure our turn coordinator is turning to the left, our balance ball is going to the right, our DI is turning, and our compass is turning.
American 17 Tango Alpha, climb to flight level 120.
And then we do the same thing to the right whenever we turn to the right. So what we'll do is we'll stop and do our power checks.
Shuttle 7 Tango alone, Nagra 2 Hotel.
You always want to
46,
ideally
233.
face into the wind when you're doing these power checks,
I confirm Nagra 2 Hotel.
but this area doesn't particularly lend itself to that. We could turn around
Shuttle 7 Tango, confirm Nagra 2 Hotel.
and make sure we're facing into
Food
the wind, just
1313, landing control, hello, climb now, flight level 240, final level.
Climb flight level 240, final level 240.
London Control, good evening.
Now we're facing the same direction,
Lima
roughly. That's the runway that we'll be taking off from. So we can do our power checks. So we
3961 Lima, landing control,
put the
hello,
throttle
Logan
down
2
to
Hotel,
idle.
when ready, descend,
We
flight
set
level
our parking brake.
250, level by Logan.
and we make sure we put the throttle
Logan
up
2
to
Hotel
1200.
and descend
RPM.
flight level 250 by Logan, 6,961
There.
Lima.
So we're looking at our T's and P's. So our oil temperature is in the green, our fuel pressure is in the green, and our oil pressure is in the green. We can set our
American
fuel to our
17
fullest
Tango
tank.
Alpha, turn left, fly
So what
heading
we want to
to
do
40
So we want to put the
degrees.
fuel pump on,
Left heading 240
Look
degrees.
at the T's and
American
P's.
1 Tango Alpha.
Change to our fullest tank, which is
Portugal
now our right tank,
1356, fly
ever so
heading
slightly.
035.
Look at the T's and P's again, and then take off.
Heading
and pop off.
035, Bravo
Again,
1356.
T's and P's. Verify our mixture is full
105,
rich.
monitor Unicom.
Check the area behind.
Unicom, thanks for your
It's
help.
clear.
Bye-bye. Speed 10.
And then we can put
Shuttle
our
7
throttle up
Tango,
to 2000
maintain flight level
RPM.
370, have descent between
So,
about 15 miles.
Make sure our brakes are holding by just looking in the background as we're doing this.
American 17 Tango Alpha, climb to flight level 340.
Climb level 340, American.
Now we do a carb heat check, so we want to watch for the RPM drop here. And there's
Valeris
virtually
44,
nothing,
London
which
control
is
flow,
fine.
climb now flight level 120.
Then we check our magnetos by going to the right magneto, looking at the drop, that's about 50 RPM, back to both. Our left magneto, that's 50 RPM, back to both. So there was no difference in those RPM drops, and overall the drops were within limits. We're looking for a max drop of 175 RPM and a maximum difference of 50 RPM. T's and P's are still in the green. Our ammeter is checked and still good and working. Our suction, we want between 4.8 and 5.1.
Postman 32 Golf Bravo 1, clear for takeoff, runway 07, the wind at
Which
Luton, 060 degrees 3 knots.
Within limits. And then we bring our throttle back down
Air
to
Portugal 135, 60,
idle.
turn to flight level 70.
and we're looking between 5 to 800
Flight level
RPM.
70, Bravo 1356.
Volari
get
44, turn left, heading
Just
240
under 800
degrees.
RPM. Just means we have a low idling plane.
82 on Romeo Golf, descend flight level 160, level by
Still
Amber.
within limits.
160 by Amber, easy,
Okay, we can now carry on with our taxi to Kilo 1.
London Control,
throttle
Lufthansa
down.
to Alpha Lima,
Take off the brake.
2500 feet.
And then we'll turn back around.
Lufthansa 2 Alpha Lima, landing control, roger. Climb now, flight level 410, route direct Conan.
Climb now, level 410 and direct Conan, Lufthansa to Alpha Lima.
Tom Jet for X-Ray Lima, Brest is
Here
off
we are at
1
Kilo
Kilo
1. We didn't have to go far. We can now do our before takeoff checks. Make sure we stop behind the double yellow lines, the solid yellow lines. Put our brake on. Set to
Air Portugal
100.
1356, resume navigation to Ockham, leave Ockham, heading 075.
So circuit breakers are in, our alternator is on, our annunciator panel
Volari 44,
is
climb flight
tested
level
and
260.
working. Our trim is still set for takeoff.
American 17 Tango
Our
Alpha,
mixture
navigation
is
at kick.
set to rich. Our
Navigation
flaps
at kick, easy, American
are as
17
required, we're
Tango
not going
Alpha.
to have any flaps for this takeoff. Our fuel, our contents is sufficient. We are on the fullest tank.
88754, when
Primer
ready, descend flight level
is in and
220,
locked.
level by sun up.
We can turn on our fuel pump, and the fuel pressure is in the green. Radio nav aids we're not going to use. Our DI,
Postman
I'm
33 Golf,
reading
report your passing altitude, climb now, flight level 200.
350 on the compass and 350 on the DI. Our transponder is set, we're squawking the code that was given to us. Our flight controls are full and free. I can show you how to check this with the yoke. So you want to go
Golf Delta Alpha, hold position after departure, runway 20, left turn on track is approved.
holding position, Golf Delta Alpha.
Golf Delta Alpha, thanks, runway 20, clear for takeoff, surface winds at Shoreham are 300 degrees 4 knots.
Cleared for takeoff, Golf Delta Alpha. Okay, our
Airport
control check
1356,
is
speed
we
220 knots.
go forward, we go left, all the way back, all the way right,
Ryanair
all the way
701,
back
monitor
forward again,
Unicom.
while looking at our control surfaces. You can see the
Airport
ailerons,
162, landing runway
elevator.
26 left, correction, landing runway 08 right,
All working
no delay,
as
descend flight level
expected.
70.
Flight level 70 for Airport 162 and landing runway
Okay.
08 right.
EC21 Romeo
And
Golf,
our
landing
safety
runway
briefing,
08 right, no delay.
we are taking off runway 20. Let me just make sure there's no one else here at the showroom, just in case.
Right, no delay,
No, we're okay.
Air India 191, landing control, roger, maintain 6000.
You'll often have to do a safety briefing before you take off. So this is
Polari
just
44, resume navigation
what you're going to be
Southampton.
doing and what happens if anything goes wrong. So we are taking off runway 020. We are going to rotate at 65 knots, climb at 79 knots. If anything happens, any issues arise before we rotate, we're going to close the throttle, we're going to apply the brakes and come to a standstill. You know,
Speedbird
nothing's going to happen because we're in a
1313
simulator,
Unicorn.
but it's a good thing to get in the habit of saying. If something happens after we rotate and we have enough space on the runway, we are going to attempt to land back on the runway. If something happens and there is not enough space on the runway, then we're going to pitch for our best glide speed, which is 73 knots.
Person 6768,
And
new
we're going to
arrival,
deploy flaps
Zaman 1
and
November,
hopefully land
proceed
in a
direct
field
Zaman,
just to the
squawk
south.
3547.
Okay, we can go and take off. So throttle down, parking brake off.
Air India 191, climb flight level 100.
Flight level 100,
Control, good evening, Commander 17 X-ray, letting off 37.
Easy, Christian Rhino 17 Victor X-ray, landing control. Hello sir, climb now, flight level 130.
Okay.
I'm now flying 130, line out 17.
Easy 6495, monitor Unicom.
Unicom Easy 6495.
Easy 21 Romeo Golf, descend flight level 80, leave timber heading 280 degrees.
80, leave timber 280 degrees, easy. Trying to bring me up.
Portugal 162, fly heading 290
Okay,
degrees.
runway 20.
By heading
Everything's all
290
set.
degrees for
We're
airport
ready to
1.
take off.
Postman 33 Golf, direct
Remember, we're
input.
looking for rotating at 65, climbing at 79.
Speedbird 961 Lima,
Full
descend flight level
power.
160, level by Sabre.
We're going to need a little bit of right
Flight level
rudder
160 by Sabre, Pittsburgh
as we
9961
add
Lima.
power.
Posted
Our
6768,
airspeed is
descend flight level
live.
220.
Use the rudder to stay on the runway. Once we get to 65 knots, we rotate, and then we're looking for 79, couple of 80 knots.
Golf Charlie Lima, entering control airspace radar control.
As we climb. We want to use the rudder to keep the balance ball in the middle during our climb,
Golf Charlie Lima, entering control airspace
and
radar
we're going to
control.
turn shortly towards
Emirates
the
241 Tango, push start approved, face east, luting QNH 1018.
300 feet, so our flaps are up,
Portugal
the lever is
1536,
down, but the
descend
flaps
to
are up.
altitude
Our
4000 feet,
engine
heat
T's
brake
and
QNH
P's are good.
1018.
Fuel pump can now go off.
Descent to 4006 QNH,
Uh,
118, Bravo 1 feedback.
Air
Our
India
landing line,
191,
and we
why
are
are you turning
trim.
left?
Okay,
Yeah, that
so
sounds
here
more
we
like a
are.
Harley heading brake. Redno
Here we are ready
3516, descend flight level
to
220, level at Blixie.
do our exercise as we discussed earlier. We're flying at 2,500 feet, just to
Redno
the south
3516,
of the
descend
south
flight level
coast.
220, level at Blixie.
We'll fly this way for a bit and then turn around.
Descend by level 220.
So if you remember the
Nicky
briefing
for
board that we
Redno,
had three main controls.
Portugal 135, turn left heading
The first
300 degrees,
control
descend to
is
altitude
elevator. Now this
2500
is
feet, cleared island
this
27 left.
control at the back here.
Clear
You'll notice
island,
if I pull back on the yoke,
and
the elevator
tablet on the island
up,
for
push down.
one feedback.
the elevator moves down.
Redno 3516 is intact, brake speedbird 961
That
Lima,
is
descend flight
the,
level 80.
and this causes the primary effect
Flight
of the
level
elevator.
80,
You can see if
Pittsburgh
I pull back,
9961 Lima.
Postman
pitch of the
6768, descend flight level
plane increases.
190.
and if I push forward, show you this yoke, push forward, pitch of the plane decreases.
November 7 Charlie Juliet.
The secondary effect, so if I,
Number 7 Charlie
picture,
Juliet, landing control,
can see
good evening, climb now,
my
flight level
airspeed
190.
is decreasing. I haven't touched the power, done anything with the power, it's still set how it is.
Portugal
airspeed is
162, speed
decreasing.
220 knots.
And if I keep this this attitude, you can see that we are
Polari
also
44, when ready,
climbing.
descend flight level 200, level by Lelna.
and that is the further effect of our elevator.
T21 Romeo Golf, speed 220 knots.
Turn around here, and we can demonstrate
Airport 21356,
the
contact Heathrow Tower
ailerons. See, I've rotated
118.4505.
the aileron, but now it's still at its central position, but the plane is still turning.
Postman 6768, you're cleared Dango 1
you can see
Quebec,
here
transition,
roll
expect
is the
ILS approach
primary
runway
effect that's being
07,
demonstrated.
descend flight level 180.
But we are not just rolled, the airplane is not just rolled, we're also moving to the right, and this is the secondary effect, which is yaw.
Lufthansa 2 Alpha Lima, monitor Unicom.
Over to Unicom, Lufthansa
So
2
roll
Alpha Lima,
causes
good
yaw,
night.
but yaw also causes roll. So what we can do now is demonstrate the rudder.
United 495 landing
I've
control,
got
roger
some
maintain
pedals
6000.
underneath my desk. If I press the pedal to the right,
Tomjet 902
you can see
Papa,
the plane
direct
shifts to the right,
Lorku.
but also it's
Direct
started to
Lorku,
roll.
Tomjet 902.
I haven't touched the yoke at all, the plane has started to roll.
AG21 Romeo Golf, descend to
You
flight
can
level
see that
70.
roll causes yaw. And you can see
November 7 Charlie
this
Juliet,
leads
direct
to
Conan.
our spiral dive
Direct Conan.
that we didn't want to do.
FedEx
That was
510.
just me demonstrating it into what can happen.
FedEx 510, Logan 2 hotel arrival, advise readability
And what
2,
the
your
further
mic
effect
isn't
of
working
the
very well.
ailerons and the rudder can be. So let's go back to 2,500 feet, and we'll go to the west.
85 9 Victor Alpha, hello, QNAV 1 Golf, descend flight level 160, level Amdut.
And we will talk about the effect of airspeed.
Number 7 Charlie Juliet, stop your climb, flight level 140.
Okay, so get the aircraft all set up.
Golf Charlie Golf Charlie Lima Foster Yankee, your
Okay,
route
so
is
we
completely
are
wrong, so you disconnect in the middle of an approach, so
2,400 feet,
complete
just
disconnect.
between 2,400 and 2,500. I'm not going to touch the power now,
With
so
a
the
215
throttle
land
won't
control,
move.
hello, Temper 2 Golf
But
arrival
if
for
I
Gatwick, descend flight level 220,
give myself
level
a
by
high
sunup.
airspeed, so we're at about 90 knots now. If I increase the airspeed by pushing forward, the controls, so my aileron, my rudder, my elevator, they are feeling a lot more responsive now. I only have to make
Touch
small
270, Papa
movements
Tango, radio check.
for the airplane to react appropriately.
Postman 33 Golf,
Now if I give
climb to
myself
flight level
a
230.
slow airspeed, again not touching the power,
Bluebird
Go
961 Lima, landing
to
runway 27 left,
70
fly heading
knots.
245.
need to
Heading
go back slightly
245,
to get
landing
to
runway
that
27
speed.
left, to the
Now
600.
my controls are a little bit more sloppy. I will admit you don't feel it as much in
Postman
a simulator,
6768,
but if
descend
you're
flight
in
level
a an
140,
actual
level by
plane,
Oftiers and
they
route
would
direct
feel really
Oftiers.
sloppy now, and I'm turning quite a bit, and the plane isn't really turning. Same with the rudder. I'm not getting as much rudder input when there was a higher speed. So what we can do now is we
Portugal
can look
162,
at our
descend to altitude 3000 feet, Gatwick QNH
our
is
constant low
1018.
airspeed. So if we try and stay at 70 knots, we can
United
already
1,
feel that the
United
elevator
495,
and the
climb now
rudder
flight level 150.
are less effective. If I then increase the power, but I stay at 70 knots, so now I've got full power, but I'm still going 70
Landing
knots.
control, good evening, easy 8741,
Controls are
climbing
slightly,
through 2,400 feet, 4,
the
6
rudder
up.
and the
Number 7
elevator
Charlie Juliet, climb
are
flight level
slightly more
130.
responsive.
Flight level 130, number 7
8741, hello, maintain 6000.
Okay, let's level off
Maintain
here at
6,000, easy
3,000
841.
feet.
Red Nose 3516, when ready, descend flight level 140, level by Abton.
And we're going to talk about trim. So trim is to remove control loading. So if I don't touch my power now, if I just let go of my yoke, I'm
Polari 44,
starting to
Jersey
descend
Golf,
slightly. You
Unicom.
can see that on the vertical speed indicator and our altimeter here.
Runner 1 Victor X-ray,
So if
west
I
is
wanted
off
to stay
Monaco
level,
Unicom.
I would have to pull back, slightly push forward. Let's see if I let go now. I have to push forward. So if I want to stay level and stop myself from climbing, I'm having to push forward. So remember what I said earlier, if we have to push forward, we want to push our wheel forward.
Flight level 220 level by
So if I
stand-up.
rotate my trim wheel slightly,
Number 2 Golf departure.
so if I've done that too much or not enough, now we're beginning to descend. So you really only want tiny
Portugal
inputs on your trim
162,
wheel
speed 180 knots or greater.
to fly straight and level.
82 on
If I
Romeo
add
Golf,
loads of
3000
trim,
feet, Gatwick
you
QNH
can't see it now, but
1018.
I'm rotating the wheel quite a bit. Look
Top
at
to
that, look at what
70
the
Tango,
plane
climb
is
now,
doing.
flight level
It's trying
350.
to get whatever speed my trim was set at. It's doing that by,
Postman 33 Golf, climb flight level 350.
well, it's doing that because of this trim tab.
Redmond
Back of the
3516, direct Absam.
Let me rotate the trim, and you might see it
I'm sorry, Red Nose
moving
3516.
slightly. We're looking about
Air India
here
191,
on the
monitor
plane.
Unicom.
So rotating. There you go. You can probably see it. Tiny
Postman 33 Golf, monitor Unicom.
control plane here. And actually, I'm going to have to reduce some
Redmond
of that trim
3516,
because
speed 270 knots
I
or
can't
greater.
physically push hard enough.
Not the greater, Red Nose 3516.
Window
Okay,
315,
so
speed
that should show you the
270
kind of the
knots.
power of trim and how you can use it to your advantage.
Window
You
215,
want
speed
to
270
make
knots.
big control, big rotations of the wheel to begin with if
Lufthansa
you
8
have a
November
lot of
Yankee
trim
on
to
conversion,
lose or
speed
gain,
270 knots.
and then very small changes to more precisely
741, climb now,
set your
flight
trim
level
as
270.
appropriate.
I'm now flight level 270.
So let's look at the
8871.
effect of
Portugal
changing
162,
power.
turn right, heading
So if
345.
I'm at a constant power of say, let's see,
Easy 2 on
2000
Romeo Golf,
RPM.
speed 180 knots.
and if I am in trim,
Speed with 961 Lima, descent to altitude 4,000 feet, Heathrow QNH is 1018.
Descend 4,000 feet, QNH
you
1018.
should be able to get an idea of
Virgin 5
the
Alpha.
datum attitude. So for me it's,
Virgin
if
5 Alpha.
I hold up to my screen, I've got about three fingers between the coaming and the horizon, and this is me flying straight and level.
feet, climbing to flight level 190.
If I increase power,
1389 London,
I
climb
won't
flight
touch
level
the yoke. Let's see
190,
what
Honolulu
happens.
to hotel arrival.
The aircraft starts to climb and it goes to the left. The same with
Virgin
if I
5 Alpha.
decrease power,
6,000 feet.
Virgin 05
We'll go
Alpha,
back
thank you,
into
climb now,
straight
flight
level.
level
so
290.
you can see it a bit better.
Climb flight level 190 on to hotel arrival. People 138 now. Thank you.
Air Portugal 162, turn right, heading 050 degrees, descent to
Decrease
altitude
power.
2,000 feet, cleared ILS 08 right.
Obviously the nose descends, it's a little bit harder to see moving to the right.
Air Portugal 162, confirm right turn, heading
In fact, it's
050,
moving to
descend
the left. I think
2,000
that's
and
because
cleared
of
ILS.
the roll that was slightly on the plane. But the principle is the
ETA
same.
741,
The
start
aircraft will
climbing now, flight level
move nose
370.
down and go right because of the effect of the airflow over the wings.
ETA 741, start climbing now, flight level 270.
We've already covered kind of trim and what
Apologies.
happens
Climb now, flight level
when we
270.
change the trim, so I don't
Speed
think we need to cover
961
that
Lima,
again.
cleared ILS
But we
27 left.
can talk about flap.
Clear ILS 27 left.
On our airspeed indicator, well, if we look at our checklist, the VFE speed,
Speed with 59 London Control, hello, climb now, flight level
Level here.
170. ETA 754, fly heading 265, descend flight level 80.
our VFE speed is
Window
103
215, descend
knots.
flight level 140, level by Absam.
So if we look at our airspeed indicator, that'll be from this white arc here. So
Window
just past
215,
100
descend
knots
flight
and
level
below.
140,
As long
level
as
by
we're within that
Absam.
range, we can deploy our flaps.
No, it's 140.
What happens when we do that? Let's have a look. If I now add one stage of flap, let's see what happens.
Ryanair 49 Juliet,
The
report
aircraft
passing
nose
altitude,
has
climb now, flight level
gone up.
370.
And the airspeed has decreased.
5,000, and can you say the altitude again?
If I then
Ryanair 49
pull
Juliet,
off
flight level
and I
370.
add another stage of flap,
370, right now, 400 Juliet.
again,
Holger
the
90,
aircraft
requesting
nose
stepping
has
out
gone
for
up
5 minutes.
and the airspeed has
You
decreased.
want to step out?
Tomjet 902 Papa.
If I then
Tomjet 902
raise the flaps,
Papa, you can monitor Unicom.
the aircraft
Monitor
nose goes
Unicom
down,
129, Tom 902
and the
Papa.
aircraft speed increases.
United 495, monitor Unicom.
Now our final
Easy 21 Romeo Golf, descent to altitude 2,000 feet.
part of the lesson that we're going to look at is our carb heat. So we didn't see this when we were doing the power checks, but let's see if we see it now. We're at 2,000 RPM. If I apply carb heat,
Okay, I sent something by text, guys. Please feed it back by text. Because if you're
You
trying
see
to
a
read
very
back
slight
when I did a mega transformation, it's just
RPM
going to
drop
confuse
to
everybody.
2,000.
Break easy 84901, London
and
control,
that just shows
climb
you
now, flight level
the
170.
how carb heat affects the engine.
Easy 21 Romeo Golf,
you get a
turn right,
reduction
heading
in
050
RPM.
degrees, cleared ILS approach on wind 08 right.
And that is it for this lesson. We're going to fly back to Shoreham now.
And posted
Feel free
6768,
to
route direct
carry on
zag
watching
zone.
if you want to see what that looks like. Otherwise, we've covered everything in this lesson. And now it's over to you to
Lufthansa 8 November
practice.
Yankee, descend flight level 140, level Absent.
Golf Delta Alpha, 8 miles east of Shoreham, Equestrian.
Golf Delta Alpha Roger, join left base runway 20, clear to land, surface winds at Shoreham are variable 2 knots.
Left base, runway 20, clear to land, Golf Delta Alpha.
Golf Charlie Lima, monitor Unicom.
Very
Approach
right,
speeds
red nose 3516.
are
Lufthansa 8 November Yankee, resume normal speed.
75 knots for base and
Normal speed,
70 knots
Clear.
for final.
And London control 3516. You said, what's that heading one more time, sorry?
Red nose 3516,
We can
heading
also do our
270
pre-landing
degrees,
checks.
landing runway 08 right.
Brakes are off.
270 degrees, 08 right.
Mixture is rich, fuel
red
is
nose
sufficient.
3516.
We don't need to change. Instruments are set. Our DI and compass are synced. Carbine go.
Sorry,
Almost about to enter the
going to
ATZ.
November, then heading 120.
Thank you. Easy 8754, turn right, heading 280 degrees. Easy 84901, monitor Unicom, goodbye.
Got the wind blowing us
Speed
around a
59,
little
monitor
bit, so you
Unicom,
just need
goodbye.
to be aware of that coming into land. Should be able to see the runway just behind this part.
Speedbird 3 bits Juliet, landing control, roger, maintain 6000.
Okay, we're in the ATZ now.
110 target day, Turkish 12 heavy, cruising Impala 370, estimated for nut 2 at 2251
So
Zulu.
we can put down 2 stage of
Turkish
flap
12, landing control, roger, squawk 5677.
now, as we are
Block
just on base
5677,
leg.
Turkish 12 heavy.
We're looking for 75 knots, which is what we've got. There's the runway there.
Speedbird 3 bits Juliet, climb now, flight level 250, proceed direct Hardy.
Alright, Zach 1250, Hardy for Speedbird 3 bits Juliet.
Easy 8754, speed 180 knots or greater.
180 knots or greater, yes.
Easy 59 Victor Alpha, descent to altitude 5000 feet, Gatwick QNH is 1018.
To final, we're a little bit high.
Red nose 3516, fly heading 280 degrees.
Fly heading 280 degrees, red nose 3516.
Lufthansa 8 November Yankee,
We're
descend flight
given
level
our clear
80,
to
leave
land,
timber heading 280 degrees.
Clearance. And I think the controls are
Sending
a little bit busy.
fed level 80,
Here we would normally do our final call. We're looking for 70 knots on our final approach. We're still a little bit high, so I've taken a little bit of power off.
Swiss 8555, landing control,
To
maintain
make sure that
6000.
we maintain that 70 knots. On final, so carb
Roger.
can go.
Turkish 12, route direct
In
Conan.
case we have to go around. That will give us a little bit more power when we take off that carb heat. So
Turkish
again,
12, route direct
to be
Conan.
aware of. We can gently come in, begin our flare, try and hold off as long as possible.
EG 8754, 10 right, heading 345, descend to altitude 2000 feet.
And gently bring the plane to a stop.
EG 59 Victor Alpha, speed 180 knots, descend to altitude 3000 feet.
Doesn't matter if we miss the taxiway, we can always turn around
Lufthansa 8 November Yankee, direct timber.
or continue
No
on to
timber,
the next
it's-
one.
EG 8402.
EC 8402, go ahead.
EG 8402, QNAV 1 Golf arrival for Gatwick.
And we'll make a left turn here.
Confirm
EG
QNAV 1
8402,
Golf.
Remember, the
QNAV
runway
1 Golf
is not
arrival for Gatwick.
vacated until you go
QNAV
past
1 Golf arrival for Gatwick. Easy
the
840.
yellow line. Yeah,
Lufthansa 8 November Yankee, descend to flight level 70.
Down to flight level 70.
like so. And we'll stop here.
Ryanair 49 Juliet to Unicom, goodbye.
We'll apply our parking brake,
thank you for
set 1200 RPM, and we'll look at our after takeoff checklist.
Speedbird 1389, descend flight level 70, speed 220 knots or less.
Okay, oh, did I say after takeoff? I meant after landing. So flaps can go up, lever can go down.
Speedbird 1389,
Make
descend
sure our
flight
trim
level 70,
is
speed
set to
220 or
neutral.
less.
Just about.
EG 8754, turn right, heading 050 degrees,
Our
clear
lights
ILS 08 right.
can go, well, apart from our anti-collision, our landing light can go off. It's already off.
EG 59 Victor Alpha, descend to altitude 2000 feet.
I would leave the strobe light on because the engine is still on. The fuel pump can go off.
Giant
Okay, now we can request taxi
225
parking.
on hello, Tebra 2 Golf arrival.
There we go. And our shutdown checklist, parking brake, make sure that is set. Our throttles set to 1200 RPM. Our radios can go off. We can just hit the intercom switch here. Magnetos, we can check for dead cat. Making sure that the engine doesn't stop. Our mixture can go to idle cutoff. Our magnetos can go to off. And then our fuel selector can go to off. Our beacon and lights can go off. And then finally, our battery master can go off. And we've now shut down the plane. Thank you for your attention during this lesson. The next thing for you is just to go and practice this yourself. If you have any questions, let myself or one of the other mentors or instructors know. We'll be happy to help. Thank you very much.